lovely people. Welcome to my podcast channel, Learn with Amit. Today, I wish to invoke the subject of executive presence and bring in expert perspectives for you. The name of the expert is Nancy Katyal. Nancy is an executive presence coach, personal branding enthusiast, an optimist, and storyteller. I love the optimist bit. For some of you who know me, we are talking a reflection of me, isn't it? Well, I interviewed Nancy for almost 45 minutes on various dimensions of executive presence. Through a series of short and crisp podcasts, I plan to share the key insights over the next few weeks. I began my conversation with a why. Why we observe several leaders who are prominent personalities, sportsperson, actors, and musicians, including some spiritual leaders. They always exude confidence and grace. Their sheer presence in person or virtual form delights us or triggers a deep connect. We get hooked onto their conversations and messages. We wish it never ends or more. A lot of us call it as executive presence. However, why is it so important to have it? And more so in the new normal, a normal where digital connects have become a way of life. This episode focuses on the why. So here's my first question to Nancy.
Conversation. So thank you for being a part of this. I know you have really invested on this subject for so many years, and you've lived that, and that's what your role is. That's what you've trained so many people. You've coached so many professionals, people in the personal lives, and you're professionally qualified as an executive presence coach. You're professionally qualified as an image consultant, and you're doing a lot of work in the leadership and personal space.
Absolutely.
So hence, I look forward to your inputs. So let's begin with why, and I'll shut up now and and let's dive into what your thoughts on this why are.
Sure. Thank you so much, Amit, for having me. And so beautifully expressed about the spiritual aspect of what executive presence is and why it is important. If you look at the VUCA world that we're living in, it's all about being present to the now. Yes.
Yeah.
And spirituality also talks about that. That's your presence. Are we present in the moment? And if you look at the organizations, they are now looking at people who have what it takes. That your it factor, your X factor. And executive presence is not just about me, it's about you also. As a leader needs to understand, am I present to the other person also? More than just myself. Right? Presence is also about your persona and essence, which makes it presence. Right? Your personality in a sense. What are you made of? What are your values? What do you stand for? And I think when you walk into a room and if you can give that sense of comfort to the other person, that as a leader or as a person, and leadership is irrespective of the title, right? We are all leaders in our own capacity. And why it is important is that if I can own my own presence, I'll be in a better position to see the other person also. If I see myself fully, I'll be in a position to see you, Amit, fully. If I'm present to my emotions, I'll be present to your emotions. So presence is an inside-out journey. And many people think that, it is about just dressing and body language. Way beyond that. Because if you really look at all the organizations right now, most of them, even including my husband, they don't have video mode on. Doesn't mean that you don't have to dress appropriately. But I'm just saying that today, people will say, what do you bring to the table? If I'm dressing well, I'm not bringing something to the table, unfortunately, that will not work for me. So that is one element. However, executive presence goes way beyond that, right? How do you put grace under crisis? And bringing that spiritual aspect, like you said, that when I'm more in tune with who I am as an individual, as an authentic leader, I bring more to the table. And that's why it is important to understand who am I being in the moment. And that's where spirituality and the real aspect, so to speak, comes in.
Wow. Grace under pressure or grace under crisis. Is that correct? I picked it up.
Absolutely.
Wow. And your perspective is that it is more inside out than outside in. Is that? Wow.
So, friends, the key messages that Nancy has given to us is that we have to be present to the now. Executive presence is not only about you, it's about others. It's about what you stand for and what are your values. Executive presence is an inside out journey. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please add to the conversation with your thoughts. Both Nancy and I will be happy to receive your inputs and share our additional perspectives. Our contact details are mentioned in the description of this podcast. Goodbye until we meet again in continuing with our conversation with Nancy. Grateful. Life is awesome. Cheers.